Welcome back. Now, tomorrow, that is the 24th of January, the world will be commemorating the International Day of Education with the theme being Learning for Lasting Peace. Now, in studio, I'm now joined by Peninah Jerono, a Child Protection and Safeguarding Program Officer at the World Vision Kenya, who will help us have an overview on Kenya's education sector. Karibu sana to the studio.
Thank you.
Peninah, what's the significance of the World Education Day?
Thank you so much, Kimani. Tomorrow marks the World International Education Day.
Yeah.
And this celebration is usually annually, and this is the 6th celebration. So the theme of the year is learning, learning for peace. So and we are focusing on transformative education. When you talk about peace, this is informed by UNESCO, and this is as a result of the different forms of violence that has been occurring, that is ranging from racism, ranging from the different violence in the gender, and also other forms of violence. So this year, it marks, it's about peace. So that is what informs us, and education being transformative, it means that it influences an individual behavior, attitude, and also character, so that even as we focus on this particular day, it will inform of how an individual is, or how an individual is geared towards, or when someone is taken through education, as I've said, it changes the behavior, the attitude, and also it influences one. So especially for those communities or different individuals, that is the children and also the youth, who are in conflict-prone areas.
All right. And how does this contribute maybe to the global awareness about education?
Thank you, Kimani. For the global awareness, we know that education is fundamental human right, and according to the Children's Act in Kenya, just narrowing down to Kenya, education is one of the most fundamental human rights. So denying a child or even a youth education, that means it's injustice to them. So as we continue celebrating this day, it just reminds us of how the world is changing, how the world is shaping towards education and also towards transforming lives.
All right. Now, can you highlight maybe any successful initiatives or projects that actually demonstrate the positive impact of education on sustainable development?
Thank you so much. I'll just narrow it down to World Vision Kenya. And just to mention that World Vision Kenya is in alignment with the Sustainable Development Goal. That is the 4th Sustainable Development Goal about quality education. And for us as World Vision, we have different projects and programs that are aligned towards sustainable education for all children. And one of the projects that implements that, we have a project called Tumikia Mtoto. We have also community engagement sponsorship program. And also we have a Kenya Big Dream program. Just to talk a little bit about Kenya Big Dream program, it's a child protection program. And when you talk about children, we also talk about education because children face different situations depending on the different contexts that we have. And one of the goals of Kenya Big Dream program is to end FGM, child marriage, and other forms of violence. And this one we do through transforming the lives of children, that is ensuring they become constructive citizens. And when we are talking about being constructive citizens, here we mean that it's empowerment. We empower them academically, we empower them in terms of life skills, and also we empower them in terms of becoming constructive citizens, so that the future of Kenya can grow and have constructive people.
Yeah, you've talked about the project that you're handling at World Vision, and maybe can you share maybe specific examples of regions or communities facing educational challenges and maybe the efforts that are being made to address these challenges?
Okay, so for the communities that World Vision serve, majorly we target the vulnerable communities, we target the marginalized, we also look at the poverty index, we also look at the illiteracy level. And narrowing down to the program that I've just mentioned about Kenya Big Dream program, we work in 4 counties, that is in West Pokot, in Baringo, in Samburu, and also in Migori. So we have had different interventions relating to education and to enhance peace. And just looking at these areas and looking at the context of these areas, you find that the issues of peace come in, because when you look at areas like Samburu, we have issues of cattle wrestling. When you look at West Pokot, when you look at Baringo, they're the same issues. So for our program, we have had different interventions targeting the children and also the education sector. And this is through partnership with the government, with the Department of Education, and also other stakeholders, both the state and the non-state actors. So just to mention a few projects that we have been doing, which enhances education. First of all, we have had construction of schools, and this is not just for World Vision alone or for Kenya Big Dream program, but it's in partnership with the government, whereby we have conversations with the government so that they can help in assessing the schools and also the areas and the priorities of need. Because if we don't have schools, it means that children will not go to school, they'll not have a place. Another thing that we are doing, we are also offering school subsidies for the vulnerable children, because that is what keeps them at home. And when children stay at home, both boys and girls, it means that they're susceptible to the harmful cultural practices in these communities, and also to issues relating to cattle rustling, just looking at the context of these specific areas. So we offer subsidy to the children to ensure that they transit from one level to another. Another initiative that we do, we also offer dignity kits. Dignity kit is a pack of a kit which contains personal belongings, and more so for the girls, especially the sanitary pads to keep the girls in school. Boys are not also left behind, because we also want to have the boys in school and not only the girls. So we are focusing on both genders, just to ensure that education is for all, so that we don't have one gender that is lagging behind. For example, if we don't have boys in school, as I mentioned earlier, it means that they can be susceptible to cattle rustling and other harmful practices. If the girls don't go to school, it means that they will get married early, so we'll have child marriage, we'll have teenage pregnancies, and we'll have a society with a vicious cycle of poverty. So just to end this, we empower both the boys and also the girls. Another initiative that we are doing, we are also offering life skills to the children, just to ensure that they know how to live a holistic life, how to be constructive citizens, as I said, in future, and how to contribute even to the sustainable development goals that we have. Another thing that we do, or another initiative that we offer as Kenya Big Dream program in regards to education, is that we offer community engagements and meetings, because at the end of the day, these children are in the community, and we also need to empower the community, because in the communities that we work, for example, in Samburu, in West Pokot, you'll find that the illiteracy level is high. So we want to cultivate that culture of education and having the children and also the parents know the importance of education, so that they'll become citizens who are constructive, and will have a future generation that is empowered. So we have community engagements, and we not only engage the parents, but we also have other leaders, both the state and the non-state actors in all this, just to ensure that we also bring in the issue of peace, because as I said, education is transformative. So that one involves changing the beliefs, the children gaining the skills, changing the attitude, and also how people live. So there's a way in which when a person grows, they are cultivated into knowing this is the way of life, and there's no any other. But when we talk about education with the community, with the children, with other stakeholders, it gives us a platform to transform the community and to ensure that we have sustainable peace, so that these children can be catalyst for peace in future in their community.
All right, so Peninah, you've actually mentioned some of the regions that have been affected by cattle rustling, mostly in the Kerio Valley. And actually, for the better part of last year, most of the schools were closed, and we actually saw the Interior Cabinet Secretary, Kithure Kindiki, early this year travel to the region and promised that the schools will be reopened, and the government began rehabilitation program for the schools. Now, I mean, there's a lot that is happening, but how do you actually measure the success and the impact of education initiatives, and maybe what are the key indicators that should be considered?
Okay, so the key indicators that should be considered is the transition rate. Actually, when children start the PP1 or the ECD level, they're usually the number is high, but by the time they're getting to grade 8, the number are low. So by looking at the transition rates, we can be able to measure the success or the impact. And also, we can also look at the teacher-pupil ratio so that we can be able to inform us how many children do we have in school, and is it adequate also for the learners. Just to mention a program that we're implementing called accelerated learning. So this is basically taking out of school children to school, and you'll find that these mostly are children who are of age. Some of them, as we can call in other communities, morans, who are young adults, maybe between the age of 14 to 15 and have not attended school. So you see, this one affects the transition rate and the number of children who are enrolled in school. So we have accelerated learning program whereby we have these children on board in school, and after a period of time, let's say 6 months, they're assessed depending on the different capabilities, and they're placed at different levels. So this one also informs by the number of children who are enrolled in schools, because from a community you can be able to know the number of children in the community versus the number of children who are enrolled and those who are out of school. So these are some of the factors that can be used to measure success.
Let me pick your mind on the teacher-pupil ratio. We actually seen stories from the northeastern part of the country whereby teachers are actually protesting to be removed from those areas because of the insecurity. I mean, how do you think maybe the government as a stakeholder, how can the government address this issue?
Okay, so maybe because of insecurity, as you've mentioned, that is why teachers want to be removed from there. But as a stakeholder, we know that education is a human right, it's fundamental to all. So maybe the government can just look on how they place the teachers so that they can ensure that there's no mass movement of the teachers or wanting to get out of the area because of insecurity, so that we can have children who have adequate teacher-pupil ratio, because at the end of the day, if they don't go to those areas, who will teach these children? Yeah.
Interesting. Now, as a stakeholder, Peninah, I mean, what are the key priorities and goals for the future, maybe of the education in the country? Okay,
so the key priorities for education in the future, I can say that it's about going digital, and that is internet. As we saw during COVID time, it was really difficult, and it posed a huge challenge, which also led to other issues affecting children. So if we can go digital, if we can have internet and digitalized way of reaching the children, even in the remote areas, that will be a plus in the education sector, so that we can be able to reach a wide coverage of children, even amidst maybe disasters or even conflicts. We can have continuity in the education sector.
All right. And do you think there are actually emerging trends or strategies that you believe will shape the future landscape of education, maybe on local, regional, and global scale?
Yeah, so looking at the global scale, as I've mentioned, things are going digital. So we need to have such platforms so that it can shape the future. And also looking at innovative ways. I won't touch much on that, but just to mention CBC, looking at such areas whereby you can look at improving the skills and the knowledge of the children. So those are the future prospects that can help addressing education and also going globally, so that we just don't produce based on papers, but we also have skills, hands-on skills, and also look at the different digital platforms whereby children can be involved and engaged.
I mean, the International Day of Education, not much public awareness has been done. And, you know, we celebrate many days, but this is one of the days that is, I can say, it's not really commemorated as it should be, and yet education is a very key factor in the society. I mean, what do you think needs to be done for people to actually advocate for education for all?
Okay. So I think advocacy, that is the way to go. Advocacy at different levels, that is from the national levels and also to the county levels and up to the community. So when we advocate for education, it means that the information will be reached. And advocacy can be done through engagements with the stakeholders, that is at the national, who influence policy. We can have engagements at the county levels, also with the relevant stakeholders and also the communities and different stakeholders that we serve. So when you have advocacy, even through the media, on importance of education, that can be through the local radio stations and also the other media stations. If we have such advocacy, we can be able to get all the people on board and know that Education Day, International Education Day, is commemorated, and it's very important. Yeah.
And recently you actually seen a trend from many people are actually not opting to go for university education, but to go to the technical institutions to get the skills. I mean, is it a trend that is actually, because actually we've seen many jobless graduates and people actually now opting to go for the technical skills. I mean, what's your take on that?
My take on that is that, yes, we all have different capacities, capabilities. So depending on your capability and capacities, actually the technical skills even offers a better job market. So for those who go to the universities and colleges, and for those who go to the technical ones and the vocational training, my take on that is that it's a plus, because either the youth or the adult knows his or her strength. So it's really good because job market there, it's really expanding and it's becoming diverse. So when we have different capabilities, different capacities, then we are shaping the future.
Well, let's conclude. Maybe what's your parting shot?
My parting shot, just like I'll echo the message or the words of Nelson Mandela, and he said that education is the best weapon to conquer the world. So I call upon all the stakeholders, all the policy influencers, all the people, both the state and the non-state actors, to contribute effectively in quality education and also to enhance future generations, so that we can have a peaceful society and a learning environment that is peaceful for children. Yeah.
That's a very good point to end it there. Education is the best weapon to conquer the world. That has been Peninah Jerono, a Child Protection and Safeguarding Program Officer at the World Vision Kenya, who has helped us to have an overview of Kenya's education sector and what to do as a country moving forward. On behalf of the whole team that made this bulletin a success, have yourselves a blessed night. My name is Kennedy Kimani.